Hello and welcome to this short video. My name is Daniel and I'd like to take the opportunity to talk a little bit about this model shown here. And this model was posted by Kevin Tan on a LinkedIn discussion. And obviously there are many things wrong or not optimal uh, in this BPMN diagram. However, I was stuck a little bit in the discussion thread, and I think there were some misunderstandings, and I think just writing about these um, problem which I wanted to address wasn't the best way. And as such, I remodeled this model. It looks more or less the same. I wanted to have it in the Camunda modeler to use the token simulation, and I didn't have access to the original model anyway. But more or less, I hope I got the visual features and the model copied as good as I could. And typically, if I would have to review this model or critique this model, there would be other things I would talk about first. But as I said, this should help the discussion about one thing. And this one thing is here, this terminate event, which I think usually can get rid of it for 99.99% of the time. So whenever you have to use it, usually there's a better modeling option. And anyways, many people use it because in UML activity diagrams, the end node looks like this. But in BPMN, we usually have the normal end events here, or some end event throwing an error or sending a message or things like that. This terminate event has a special meaning or a special semantic. And for this, we look into the token simulation. And I'll start the process down below in this pizza vendor pool. And you see here the token running, and it passes through our process. And now I've received payment, I need to decide what's happening. And that's interesting because why do I need to decide what's happening? The token passed through bake pizza, deliver pizza, and now Camunda modeler and the token simulation prompt me to either choose this token moving forward or this token moving forward. And if you look at this token here above, it waits for a complaint, which is a message coming from the customer. And if we get a complaint, we try to calm down the customer and we are waiting for the next complaint. And this is an endless loop. So we can, or the customer can complain as many times as he or she wants. And we are still stuck here waiting for the next complaint. So in order to finish this process here at the pizza vendor, we need to get rid of this token here wobbling around the complaint. And this can be done by the terminate event, which will delete all tokens in our process instance, regardless on where they are. In contrast to the normal end event, which will just consume the token, and the process instance will finish when all tokens are consumed by some end event or some end activity without following any end events. So this means if the process here down there at the vendor is modeled as it is, we need to have a terminate end event because we are waiting for these complaints. We have an active wait loop, which is kind of interesting because usually we don't want to model waiting as an active process. We have things that wait for us, and these are events. And now you might say, hey, we have an event here which is waiting, which is kind of true. But we have non-interrupting events for managing these wait states. And I quit the token simulation. And now there are several ways how we can resolve this here. And I hope, and that's why I did this video, because I think describing textually when we want to go is a bit tough, and obviously I provoked some misunderstandings. So what we want to have usually in these cases is a subprocess or some kind of process boundary. We could also do, can use the same symbol, I'm sorry. Can also place an event subprocess here as well. So directly I could scope this inside a subprocess, or I can scope it inside my main process. And these dotted lines always mean, hey, something's non-interrupting, so it might occur in parallel and optionally besides my main flow. So we can say here we wait for a message start event, and I use the dash ones because I want it to be non-interrupting. So I have a non-interrupting event-based subprocess, which serves here as where's my pizza. So if the customer complains to me, I can calm down my customer and as you can see, we can place an end event here. So our token comes in here and will go, and so our message flow will go to this subprocess, and we can remove this loop entirely and the parallel gateway as well. And probably, I mean, there are many things in the layout to improve. But probably here it's a bit better to place it, although it's still far from a clear layout. And if we have this and we run the token simulation again, then you see, hey, my process will just run through, and we still have our terminate. So we will replace this with a normal end event, and we start our token simulation, and in between we can just fire off here our complaints, and then at some point we are done. Our process instance is finished, and I've handled many complaints in between. And although I have to admit that we need to work on the layout on this model, and I think there are many places to work on, I find this much better because it clearly indicates, hey, that's something which might happen, might not happen, might happen multiple times, and it's completely unrelated to our main flow. And that's something which we couldn't see before, and this allows us to use this to let us use a normal end event. So that being said, that's one scenario where people are using terminate events for terminating a process instance, which can be better modeled by using, in this case, an event-based subprocess. Other variants would use a subprocess with a non-interrupting boundary event. But anyhow, there are different ways of modeling this behavior, which are, in my opinion, much better suited and clearer in a way. And I know that now some people will argue, hey, event-based subprocesses, they look, well, kind of strange with this dotted line, and most people don't understand the concept. In my experience, anyhow, you discuss this model, and after you've discussed this model with some stakeholders, they will surely understand what you're up to. And another thing is that some modelers allow you to collapse this event-based subprocess quite elegantly, which would further tidy up space in here. But that being said, there are more advanced constructs and I think more understandable constructs that let you help evade the terminate end event.